about the price of electricity meter that has increased. Of course, the cost of single-phase electricity meter has risen to over 130,000 naira from 88,000 naira. In fact, that is the last time I remembered. I don't know how much was it then. At first it was free, then later they started selling that it's very affordable price, but now it's outrageous. In the first quarter of the year, this is the second time the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission will approve an increase in the prices of prepaid meter. Now, it was gathered that the price of a single phase is 130 to 139, while a three-phase is sold at 219,000 to 229,000, depending on the vendor. This is just as some consumers who have yet been metered continue to lament high estimated billing from their electricity distribution companies. Consumers on direct connection lamented that they receive estimated billings every month, stating that the amount being charged by the disco is not usually measurable to the unit of energy they have used. We know that one right from time. A single-phase meter was sold at 1,802 naira, while the three-phase rose from 154 in May this year and went to 210. According to some electricity distribution company who spoke to us, say that this cost no longer have control over meter sales, stating that the customers deal directly with the meter asset provider, who is mandated to supply the meter within 10 working days after the And the Chief Executive Officer, Fola Akinlola, said that meter application portals were short in April because the vendors and discos were regularizing prices to reflect the current economy reality. I'm going to start with you, Chris. Now, this is very high. 200 and 100 and like, to be honest, I've never paid attention to this part of it because I feel like it shouldn't be that expensive. The last time I remember somebody wanted to get a meter was around 35. That's what was 35, 30. I was like, is it that 15? There's someone that can provide 15. I didn't even know it is now 100 and ranging to 139. But why is it so? Can they regulate the price?
Okay, to start with, I think the foundational problem to this is the insincerity of the managers of our nation. Now, when this whole issue started with privatizing all of that, and we're bringing in investors, the ideal thing to have been done at that time was to factor in metering into the takeover, or the process of the disco and all of that. It was also to factor it all in. But what they did at the time was they did a party arrangement, sold to their friends and all of that. So they came in and were doing estimated billing. There was exploiting Nigeria at will and all of that. So there was no for metering in the first place because we were making huge money for estimated billing. And I remember 3-4 years ago, I did a whole protest on social media for like a month, fighting the theft of estimated billing. Eventually, the Bright government started rolling out about 6 million and all of that, but it was a bit late. And then the gap was already huge as regards to the meter Nigerians. Okay, fine. So when they came on board, eventually, after missing that initial process of factoring it into the takeover process and all of that, then we also have very lazy thinkers of here in that regard, that they just think they can just box all Nigerians in one channel and hit it like that. No. You should be able to diversify. You should be able to give options to people. There are those that can comfortably afford to buy stuff. There should be some others you give options. Some can pay 50% and then they pay progressively. There are some that you give them the meter, they start paying. Maybe you give them a cap, a year or 2 years to pay. That way, you factor in all classes. You factor in all classes, so everybody at their pace will link up, and then everybody will be fine. But we have lazy thinkers that cannot think out of the box. That just think in one channel for over 200 people and box everybody together, and it becomes a huge burden. It becomes difficult to comply with. Now, fine, yeah, it's high, and the truth is, like I said, relatively, it's high because I still afford it, but a whole lot of people cannot afford it. So the best thing to have done was to break it, to make options of it, so people can at their level and all of that. Because sincerely, to be fair to them, the economic reality, like for example, they just signed an MOU with a Chinese company now. Now they are producing about 1.4 million meter, bringing in that into the market. There's this presidential metering initiative working towards a metering thing, covering the gap and all of that. But the cost is only going to be an effect because the people are not empowered. The earning power is not increasing, and yet the cost of this is skyrocketing. There's a problem. So the thing should have been that they should have given options to people to come at their level.
Actually binds you idea, because if you know in a particular house, like let's say you know that you're owing this because you had the former type of meter, now you use the prepaid meter. They always tend to take the bill into the prepaid meter and to be paying gradually. So can't they do the same thing also for the purchasing of the prepaid meter? I totally agree. But I want to ask Mazi. Now, I was reading something that a lot of people complain then before the prepaid meter, even now when you don't have a meter, whatever electricity they have consumed, it does not tally with the electricity bill that they always bring. Why do you think so? And why that cannot do something? Because why I have to say this is because this is something that happened growing up as a child. I've said it before. My father was the one who taught me how to read the meter. Since when the bill comes, I'll be able to no, it's not up to this one. This one, what happened the last one? We did this, made corrections, and we had to know that. So they will mark out some particular house. And go there, these people they will give you one hour. So just bring the normal bill or you agree with them. Why is that? And can it be changed? If it can, what way can we go about it?
I think make a solid foundation by saying option. I remember 2018 when I got married after so many reasonable time. And how many persons get there at my place? I was in the studio, one of the managers came to run out and say, today, I'm here you. If you say that I will go on air, if they with me, and within 10 days I got it. I think it's like 8,000 something, 2018. But then it has been a lot of what has happened. I remember before 2 years back or 3 years back, the former president of the Nigeria should be provided with free meat, free. That happened to that pronouncement. A situation where the president's statement is no longer binding, it's no longer law. It talked about unbundling it. The horns that trouble is would they allow it to be unbundled? Those who are benefiting from that, it's crazy. Remember, during the last dispensation of the former administration, the former speaker presented a bill criminalizing estimated deaths. It is still a lot of it. So many people, those and our lawmakers frustrated it. Just like when the Minister for now came up with the increase in diesel. And they said, this is killing to Nigerians. He went on air, if we don't do it, there will be no power in it. And today, those of us that they wickedly ban aid, we're paying through our nose. If you buy 1,000 prepaid, that's 4 units. Unlike before, I'm spending close to 25,000. What am I using? Nobody said, as I'm here, and it's only my granddaughter that is here. She can't use more than one. So it's crazy. But then the issue is this. We are in a country that, do I use the word, confused affairs. We don't know what to do. We are experimenting. You ask me this question, but elected leaders, were they prepared? These things have been there from time of Obasanjo to Yaradua. Yaradua, know how much more that has been chunked into electricity? Nothing. It's no light. So, providing meters for the masses is an issue, and they're making it so difficult that an average Nigerian cannot afford it. But why? thing is anti-masses, anti-the people, and it appears not even paying attention. Every time, we tighten our belt. I don't know, maybe I'm saying Steve fast.
Man has gone to the last
so now, my worry is this. Our leaders are, our rulers, are they listening? If they are listening, but there are some people who are enjoying this situation. There are people, you don't tell them there's no fuel, they will make sure that they will drive into one of the police stations or they feed their tank and everything. People like that are not seeing anything wrong with the administration of the government. So my worry, and I'm going to me that if we can be serious, listen to American Yoko last week. He said the best leaders from all over to rule Nigeria, to govern Nigeria. He said he will not survive the foundation. The system is wrong. So the answer to your question, the system is, so there's the system I'm talking about is a foundation. When our constitution is, I think they are planning to either amend it or discard it. So our system is faulty, and our leaders are capitalizing on that. Few are hijacking the system, making sure that they themselves alone will benefit. So it's unfortunate that we have found ourselves, but then there's not. But there are bound is something that the one day monkey go market.
But there's an issue to that too, because the earlier said to meet out all Nigerians, there's $1 billion. And I said to myself, that's a whole lot. If we're going to wait for government to provide that, it's serious trouble. So what they can do is this: they can make the atmosphere friendly for investors to come in, so that people can come in at a different levels, come in.
Sorry, let me tell you. Do you know that some of the foreign investors are afraid of coming to Nigeria? Because, where our presidential jet were seized, they said don't trust the judiciary. That is why there is always a clause, as I'm saying, there's always a clause in the agreement that if there's a default, we cannot seek interpretation elsewhere. And that is where, when the Chinese government has done with Ogun State, and they didn't know, our leader didn't tell us that what is the federal government. So that's what is happening. They are afraid of, they know that going to the newly appointed Super Eagles.
But still on electricity, but let me just quickly say this: Nigeria, with over 200 million population markets, it's a huge market. The leaders of some kind of credibility and then commitment, and that's huge for people to come in and invest into the sector. So we can't wait for government to provide $1 billion. So they should open up the system such that people can come in and invest in the process, and then the money back, and all of that. That's the best they can do. You understand? Then that we can be that the people investing can provide the meters. So because Nigeria, and then you make law, because you have the meter, give yourself a timeline. Okay, believe this time, all night you cannot enjoy power supply without being metered. Okay, so that way it is not important, and then we are bound by law metered. So once you get that, over time you will pay. And then foreigners are not like average African. They want to invest today and then maximize tomorrow. They understand the long game, right? So they can invest and then understand that they can make their picture their profit point. So just make the environment conducive for investment and bring in investors. So that's huge. That's huge market.
Nigerians are ready to partner with the government if there is sincerity. I just want to collaborate with what you said. Make it friendly, conducive, so that the foreigners, foreign investors, when they look at the system operational, they look at their law that will guide them. And you talk about we are not. We're trying to be allowed. So these are the things, hindrances to this thing. But I want to believe mostly that, like what you are advocating, let there be a friendly environment. On sincerity, credibility is key. You don't run a business with insincerity, propaganda, or lies, deceiving people. I said it somewhere. this one, I said the expiring date. When the date for which you are told is expired to come out. So that is the problem we have. Our leaders should see them, should present themselves clean, transparent, honest, so that even when they come, they now see that we obey our law. Our done something which they didn't want to respond. I said, what led to the new Super Eagles coach to run away?
Let's not talk about Super Eagles coach. We're talking about electricity. Anyways, like you said, I actually agree with what you're saying on the fact if they can do it the way they do the electricity bill when you're owing like that. Foreign investors too, okay. And I understand where Maz is coming from. Even if we try all of these things, if there's no sincerity, if there's no honesty in business, we will still go back to the very beginning.
Those of us on the band A were enjoying like have this.
Yeah.
So our pocket is good. Look, let me tell you, if Nigerians see honesty, that when you tell something, like they now say we should go to band A, and we're paying through our nose, and we are.
But the good thing about the metering is that you can control the way you use your electricity. I'm enjoying, good electricity supply now at the time, and I also try to control the usage, the consumption.
Discipline comes in,
and that's
discipline comes in. You know, we are not in the look. When you are not need light in the parlor, you put it on.
Sorry, we are prolonging this, but because the demand.
Yeah.
Permit me to say this. Some of us have been privileged to have stayed abroad, know what it's like. Electricity in abroad is gold. You pay blood. So that way you understand. You don't even toy with, not careless. We put in something on that you're not using because it's expensive. So understand what they are saying, and then over the years we have been used to subsidy electricity and all of that. That now we are about to face reality and it becomes a big pain. But it's also because government understands the psychology of the people to know how to introduce these things and then align with the psychology of the people. But basically, the metering is a good idea with the meter, but it should be affordable and accessible.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the next one because
we
used like almost 35 minutes of